all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you for that. Next item, is approval of minutes of the July meeting. We did not have a forum in, August, so, have the minutes there attached. Entertain a motion to, approve those as presented, unless we need to discuss those.
Make a motion to approve on those.
Next item, is approval of minutes of the July meeting.
Where's the remote?
Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes. We have. Okay, the motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right. Anyway. All right, I seem to be moving a little quickly, but there is a bit of a time element tonight. We need to, wrap up by 7. I think we'll be able to do that. It's not putting pressure on anybody, but explaining more, moving kind of quickly. Putting pressure on myself. Finance reports, the second quarter finance report.
So, finance report here, some of you that have been on the committee now for a while will remember this. We used to do this every single month. One thing I want to move towards is, doing it quarterly. And so this is a summary report. This is at the end of second quarter. So keep in mind that, this was through the end of June and we are now in September. I think one of the issues we had when it was monthly was you're really always going to get it 2 months behind, because it's got to go through council first and then we're getting it later. So this is not up to date by any means, but with it being a summary, I want to just kind of keep everybody not having it at all, but to still do it occasionally and let you know kind of where we are. Big picture, for those of you that may be seeing it for the first time, on the revenue side there, the total down there, we're 50.91% still available. So that means that halfway through the year, we had generated 49% of the revenues we need to generate for the year. So just slightly behind pace. A couple of things, sale of equipment you saw being $0. Since then, we have since sold a few pieces of equipment. That's stuff that we had to wait till council approved for us to sell it. And then we were in the middle of our tournament season, so that's one of the things we wait till things slow down before we do some of that. We've received a lot of sponsorship dollars since then with some contracts. So we're, revenues-wise, we're moving on pace as we are with budget. And then on the expenses, we actually were a little bit below our expenses halfway through, because you could see that we had 53.5% still available on our expense budget. So anything, like I said, these are by category, so these are individual GL accounts. You look at the council agenda every month, it has all of our individual GL accounts on there. Anybody, if you have, especially some of our new members, if you have specific questions over this, I'd be happy to set up a time to meet or to look at individual accounts there too, if you wanted to kind of get a feel for where these are coming from on these summaries. Any questions or anything over that? It doesn't call for a vote or anything. It's just there for education purposes.
I like this, I didn't read it then.
It's a little bit smaller than it was, but I did get it on one page.
Yeah, I didn't see all the,
One negative.
So that actually means that we were budgeted to bring in $500 on rentals of Alcoa Park, and through June, we had already brought in $613. So the negative is actually a good thing. That means that we had already gone over our budgeted item for the year. On revenues, negatives are good on revenues.
but on expenses is bad.
Yeah. Now I can say, because I think we have a couple of lines that were already fully, but like the fixed assets, like the E80, those are specific projects that like we knew that we budgeted a specific amount because it's gonna, so like the E80 at Bishop, that's for the A complex backstops and housing over the splash pad. That was put in that budget to do those projects. Those projects are done for the budgets.
That's good. Any other questions on finance report? We'll move on. We don't have any association of club reports this morning. So, direction?
First, I would like to introduce Compassion. Compassion is the assistant aquatics coordinator and our head coach of our bass swim team, and she is going to give us a little report on our swim lessons and our bass swim team this summer.
Hi, I'm Compassion. We do a little bit of a slideshow up here for you guys, just a couple of slides. I won't take up too much of your time. So this summer, for our summer swim lesson program, we had 276 enrolled in our first lessons. That was between Bishop and Mills Park Pool. In the summertime, we run lessons out at Mills Park Pool. Those lessons are run every day of the week for every weekday of the summer. And then here at Bishop, we do lessons twice a week for 4 weeks. And then we had 144 enrolled in our swim babies that we offer. And then we had 40 enrolled in our private lessons through June and July for this summer. And in addition to that, we had the BYA, Bryant Association, also join our swim lesson program this year again. We've had them the last couple of summers. We had about approximately 300 BYA kids that we had in swim lessons this summer. Approximately 60 of those swimmers were able to pass our swim test and become water competent. Our swim test for that is that they have to enter the water, float on their back for a minute or tread water for a minute, and swim from one end of the pool to the other end of the pool. So it's a pretty complicated test, and we had 60% of them able to pass. We had 40% pass that test to last year, and 42% came back knowing how to swim this year and were still able to swim. So we added on about 20% more to that of kids that we have that program, and that is a free program that we offer to the Bryant Youth Association. Just to get kids involved, they come and swim for us every summer, so we want them to learn how to swim and be water confident and safe in our pools. And that's here, we offer that here, and we offer that at Mills Park Pool as well. All combined, we had close to 3,000 swimmers in swim lessons this summer. So that's a pretty good number. We're really excited about that. That's 3,000 more kids that know how to be a little bit more water confident and a little bit more safe in our community. So that's really exciting for us. And we plan to continue to do that as the summer and fall comes along. We just keep on teaching lessons. So that's swim lessons. We're going to move over to bass. This is my swim team. There is approximately 45 kids on bass right now. We had 8 new swimmers join in the last 2 months. We have about 20 to 25 participants at each practice. We competed at 10 meets this year, and we placed in the top 3 at all 10 of those meets. I love to brag on them a little bit. They're very accomplished. They're amazing swimmers. They're very committed to their sport. We had 16 bass swimmers qualify for the Junior Olympics. Actually able to compete this year. Junior Olympics was in Greensboro, North Carolina. The pictures up here, that's me and our team up there. There was over 800 swimmers at Junior Olympics that aged from age 6 to 18 that our kids competed against. I'm going to talk just a little bit about their accomplishments. Brody Hutchinson was on a relay that won 5th place. That's this picture over here in the corner. They were ranked 16th at this meet and swam up to 5th place. That's a really cool accomplishment for them. A lot of our swimmers dropped times. Some of those time drops were consistent of 13 seconds. Dropping a tenth of a second is something impressive in swimming, so dropping 13 is a huge accomplishment. Over here on this side, this is Gavin Sikora. He is one of our swimmers. That is his first ever Junior Olympics medal, won as an individual. So he was really excited. He's won some medals with relays before at the Junior Olympics, but that was his first ever one. And here in the middle, this is Jagger Mersing. You may have heard that name before. If not, he's a very accomplished swimmer. I'm gonna read off what he did at JU's. In the 200 free, he got 7th, and the 200 IM, he got 5th, and the 100 fly, he got 4th, and the 400 IM, he got 4th, and the 100 free, he got 4th, and the 100 back, he got 4th, and the 50 free, he got 3rd, and the 200 back, he got 3rd, and in the 200 fly, he got 1st, and actually was able to win that medal up there. So that was a huge accomplishment and really exciting. And this is competing against like 50 to 60 other kids in their age group. So some really big accomplishments, and we plan to continue to swim, enjoy, win meets, win races, and drop time. And that's pretty much all the report.
It's a great report.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, a lot of those numbers are actually in my report, yeah.
That's what she gave me to talk about. I wasn't really,
Great job.
sorry.
Any questions or anything for Compassion? She's gotta get the, on that, she's gotta get the swim.
I
practice.
nice to meet you.
Thank you, Compassion.
Very nice.
On that note, yes, so our director's report is in here. Keep in mind, this is for the months of July and August, since we didn't have an August meeting, I just merged those together rather than having two different reports. A lot of the numbers she mentioned are in the director's report here for the aquatic side. Couple of things. I know most of you already know Matt, but I'll reintroduce. Matt was promoted to assistant director during this time of July and August, so he is here tonight in a new role. We will be taking his previous position to council this month to ask them to unfreeze that since when he was promoted within vacated, it was frozen. So then we can start the process of filling that role. Also, we hired a program coordinator. The basketball subcommittee got to meet Hunter because he came to one of our basketball subcommittee meetings, but we're excited to have him on as a program coordinator as well. That'll be the first time in 3-4 years, I think, that we've had a program coordinator on staff to focus on internal programming. So we're excited for some of the things that he's looking at adding as far as recreational opportunities. Other things there any other questions over anything else on that report?
There's a lot being done.
Yeah, and this was a long one because it is, like I said, it is 2 months. As well there, so continuing to work on progress out at Alcoa Park, Salt County Lacrosse working on their building there for concessions, and then a partnership of us and our grounds crew along with the Bakers and Salt County Lacrosse working on leveling that area that's adjacent. That was, I think, originally supposed to be another softball field. It's kind of that low spot down there. We're really working on trying to get that to where it can be a multi-purpose practice pad. So I'm trying to make Alcoa look nice for the parkway being open now. And all the traffic.
Whenever we drove down at Friday, I was like, oh, look, how you can really see it. Glad they've been working on it.
Glad to see Salt County Lacrosse taking advantage of that exposure along the
They
parkway.
did, they had to see pictures of, I noticed that too.
Well, they're now gonna have to share there. I think that they may have been using the parkway as a training ground for some of their long runs. When it was closed, they had a private area to go. Now they're gonna deal with some traffic over there, I think.
Oh, they've got wide trails.
Yeah,
They are.
Yeah, they were on the path. They weren't on the road.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They were not. They weren't crossing.
One of the things that continues to impress me every time we see it now is the number of visitors we have that we can measure. I mean, you talk about economic development numbers, those weekends and local impact, that's pretty impressive. That's good to know rather than, guesstimate, and looking at where they're from. So, Any public comments? Private comments? Okay, with that, we'll move on to the old business, and, couple months.
We'll do that.
I guess it was back in June or May, we appointed a, subcommittee. It was gonna look into making some recommendations on a few items. One was developing, I guess, communicating a code of conduct that we expect all participants, be they coaches or parents or players, to adhere to. Most people do that by nature, but, we just wanna make sure that we are firm in what we expect, and they put together a report, and I think in absence of, since Cody has resigned from the committee, you, the presenter of this report, for discussion zone.
We didn't necessarily appoint anyone, but,
Either one.
Amanda,
Amanda were on the committee as well.
for the code of conduct,
well,
I'll let Amanda lead that because she kind of.
which is, I've got that as an item on the agenda, so
Oh.
we can cover that there.
Okay.
The other.
As far as an update, basically, we're still making, contact with the local gym, through, school administrative personnel, to secure the gym for practices as well as possible games on Saturdays. And that's just kind of going, it's a little bit difficult to do it during the summer. Things, for some reason, administrative wasn't as accessible. But now there's time to, be more accessible. So we're still moving in that direction of getting that. That's pretty much our goal or main thing for right now.
That's good, I guess that's a good challenge to have. Need more space for activities, so. All right, thank you for that. And new business,
So Mark White with Batson Engineering is here. He, I think we started talking about this probably the end of last year. Study that they've been working on for, options for, obviously, we know we've got to replace the dehumidification system there, but also just other, things that we can do to try to help cool that facility. That's kind of where it started from, and then, they've done some research on just some upgrades of the apartment. So I'll turn it over to Mark and let him, also, you all have in front of you the report, and I think he's gonna kind of walk through that, a little bit of that with.
Yeah, thank you for having me here tonight to talk about the report and the findings that we came up with. Like you said, the report is in front of you there. And so, Ted contacted me last year to ask for us to help with some of the comfort issues that y'all are having in the auditorium, and also to help with the sizing of the replacement pool pack unit that you've got. The pool pack unit is the original unit of the facility, so it's 15 years old, so it is at the end of its life. I know the repairs continue to increase on that, so that's within a year or so of needing to be replaced. Of the comfort issues that were expressed, probably the main one is related to the fact that the roof and the walls have not opened on the auditorium for years. And the facility was originally designed for the enclosure to open up in the summertime and operate as an outdoor pool. So not being able to do that, it's led to extremely high temperatures during the summertime in the facility. And in fact, Ted sent me some data points that he had taken back in May of 2022 rather, and it's getting up to 95 degrees or higher in space. And so, we're looking at what we could do to try to Ted asked that we look at the envelope and the unit sizing to be able to function in the summertime with the building closed, because at the time that was the condition that they would not. And so we ran load calculations on the facility as it is now, and the results we found was that to cool the space to recommended auditorium conditions would require about 168 tons of coolant capacity. Which is about 2.5 times more than the capacity you've got right now. The other thing that the load calculation showed was that 97% of that load is related to solar load because of the glass enclosure. And so we began to look at what we could do to those issues. And so to keep the unit size down to a single unit, we started with a 100-ton full pack unit and then ran load calculations to back into what we would have to do to the envelope to reduce the solar load. And so we worked with Open Air, who was the manufacturer of the envelope originally. And we looked at what we could do to put better glass in. We also looked at how much glass we would have to remove and put in insulated opaque panels to get that solar load down. And so that's some of the recommendations. One of them is for the 100-ton full pack with the associated envelope modification. The other thing that happened during that time when we were finishing this report up is that Open Air was out here in May and repaired the tracks and the motors for the roof and the walls. And so now the facility is able to open up the way it was originally designed to. And so you had this whole summer with the building able to open. And so Kristen indicated that in that condition, the comfort was much improved in there. There's still some areas that are problems, but overall, it worked well with the building opened up. And so the second option we looked at, because of the results of the summer, was that you would operate the enclosure with it open in the summer originally intended, and that the replacement pool pack unit would just be a replacement of a similar size to what you have now. So those are the two things we looked at for the pool pack and the enclosure option. Some of the other things that were brought up on comfort issues were the bleacher area that's used during swim meets. And so what we proposed for that is that we would put in a dedicated unit for that bleacher area, and that unit would only be operated during swim meets. The other area that was brought up was the therapy area. And one of the things that happens is that is kind of a gazebo into the pool, and it's kind of removed, so you don't get great airflow down there. And so what we're proposing is that we put in an HVLS fan, which is a high volume, low speed fan, to move air through there to get better convective cooling in that space. The other thing we looked at, we talked to Open Air about the possibility of putting operable windows in that end with the gazebo to get more air moving in there that way. We don't have any pricing or design from Open Air, but we have had a conversation and said that it's something that's possible. So those are the main things we looked at as far as options for mediating some of the issues on it.
Any questions for Mark? A lot. So if you're looking at the recommendations page there, he kind of laid it out. As far as the HVAC unit, there are two options. One being that we try to go with a larger unit, and one that where we could close it up in the summertime and in theory try to have air conditioning. We would have to go with a much larger unit, more expensive, as well as glazing, and you can see like he has in bold, this option requires one of the two envelope modifications, which are down at the bottom. You would have to do that as well. It would also highly recommend the attic evacuation system, which is listed there too. That's to get the chloramines out, because if we're closing that in, we don't have the natural air to get chloramines out. So, in order to do that, there's a lot of things that'll have to be done, and that price tag gets over between $3 and $4 million after that. The other option being we go back with the current size that we have, and in the summer times we utilize our roof panels, our doors, we open that thing up fully, we get the airflow through there, and we have, and I can speak for Compassion left early, but I can speak for Compassion as well, that it has been much nicer there. It's still hot. I mean, it's Central Arkansas in summer, it's hot, but it has been nicer whenever we're able to open all of that up, and so that was the two options that they had come up with there. So any other things? Questions or anything else over that? So we are currently, Chris, is that one this month, you know, October, okay. In October, we have gotten, so the option 2 for the HVAC, because we didn't have a meeting last month, we were actually gonna do the report last month, but the option 2 for the HVAC, which is the $935,000, we have added that to, request for amendment 78. We have a quote of that amount, that's not a rough estimate that we've come up with, that we've received a quote for that. And so that is our plan right now, is that it will be, go to council in October for requested to be a part of the 78 bond. So this is, I mean, we talked about this a lot. It has to be replaced. Because of the way that our aquatic facility is laid out, the time to do that is in the summertime, whenever we can open the doors and open the roof. And so we know that we've got to get one more winter out of the current unit that we have. I can tell you from the last couple of years, I'll probably be coming and asking you guys in council for budget adjustments, because we've been sinking $15,000 to $25,000 in it every year to get through a winter. And it's the maintenance cost on it keeps that one limping along at a steadily increased. So I think we're functional right now. We are. So we just had someone out a couple of weeks ago working on it. You know, but our goal is to get through one more winter, and then we're going to have to replace it.
So option 2 would be basically the same kind of system we have now, but also with the ability to open the roof and the windows, performance and or the temperature would be, the high temperature would be mitigated by that as well, right?
Right, you know, my understanding from Kristen is that in the wintertime, when everything's closed up, that the unit does a good job of heating and dehumidifying the space. It's just in the summertime, so it would be essentially having an outdoor pool during the summer.
And there are, like, you know, Mark and his team, I mean, there's some supplemental things here that even going with the same size unit, we would still want to look at doing at some point. I mean, I think the fan, the therapy pool fan, that's low hanging fruit. That's going to last $20,000. So that's something that's like, that can make a big difference in getting some air movement over there in the therapy pool area. Like, that's something that we would still look at doing. The bleacher cooling, I mean, that's a much larger price tag on that, but that's something that, you know, these are all things that can be done with our current system to help with that. But the first thing, we all knew that the first thing was we've got to take care of the HVAC unit, because it's not going to be operable.
Comments about that? Questions? Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate the work and the, summer to spend some time with it. We're taking it from
Code of conduct.
Oh, no. Okay. No. 7, code of conduct. I kind of got ahead of us here a little bit ago, but, you see the code of conduct that the committee's put together, that would, you know, the committee's approval would be communicated to the participants, just so everybody knows. And, I will say that I did notice on Saturday, came into one of the entrances of the softball field, and I did notice there was a sign up there that had one aspect of the code of conduct and what the expectation was for treatment of the umpires. You know, you don't do that gate a lot of times, and I just noticed there's something new here. And, so I think that was a step in the right direction, so. We pretty much, I mean, we're doing this functionally anyway now. This is just a matter of, this is what we would expect everybody to agree to as part of their, participation. Y'all have anything to say about how you
I looked at other code of conduct from other, parks, some were like, and some had very extensive, long, and I just tried to combine everything in one page, and one thing for everybody, instead of having a whole thing for athletes, a whole thing for parents, and a whole thing for, the coaches. But I did all in one, and I think he thought we would, but when they sign up online, that they would have to sign this, saying that they've read it and they understand it before they can go on.
So, yeah, that's correct. So I will tell you, this was also on the August agenda. So, volleyball has been in registration, basketball just opened registration. We have gone ahead and added this on our online registration. Obviously, if it does not pass the committee, I can pull that, but I was, with the work that the subcommittee had done on this, I felt like I knew kind of where this was going, so I wanted to go ahead and get this. So if you register for any of our programming, our youth sports programming right now online, you're going to see this. Now it's just, you basically click to say, okay, I accept. But I think that our plan is, once we have teams set up and the first night we have them there, we would also take signatures on this as well, so that, you know, if you know, worse comes to worse and these consequences come up and someone is for a game or a season or expelled from the, hey, you signed this, like, so you knew this was coming, so, yes, sir.
Who makes a decision on the consequences for this? Like, who would be?
So that would be, whoever the program director would be. So, I mean, I can tell you that I think that in my 8 years here, we've had one that got to number 4. And so, like, if something gets to that point, it's going to get to Matt or myself. But I think that hopefully you're handling these things with 1 and 2, and that would be.
Well, I know that some of this, I know RJ called this legislation, I believe, after legislation on like, on the, specifically on like officials and such. So,
That is actually the signage that was put up with the legislation. So we have the Arkansas code on that sign. Yeah, RJ was actually the one who got with us and you know, got that legislation with me. But I would, sorry.
No, I just think this also lets people know that, you know, we're paying attention. And, you know, there may be opportunity too to, we'll get ahead of ourselves, but to put some simple signage, you know, at the parks that has something like this that just reinforces it. Fortunately, we don't have too many problems, so. Best managed problems is the one that you prevent, so we can prevent that.
So, I would like a motion from the approval from the committee, just that we have your support to move forward and acquiring this.
So I make a motion that we approve the Bryant Park Youth Sports Code of Conduct.
There's a motion and a second, is there any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right.
At this point, I'll turn it, y'all gotten to know Rebecca pretty good at this point, our grant coordinator, but I'll turn it over to her to discuss the Great Strides Trail grant that we would like to apply.
So, this is a brand new grant, this is the first year that they've done this one. It's called Great Strides Trails for Life, and it's from the Arkansas Office of Outdoor Recreation. It is a no-match grant, and you can ask up to $250,000. So hopefully we wouldn't have to put any money down on there. If we wanted to, we could. We are looking at renovating the Mills Park Trail with this money. It gets a lot of usage, or Mills Park gets a lot of usage, but that trail really, really needs to be renovated so that it's accessible for people. And the reason that we are bringing this is because I do have to take it to city council because they require a resolution, even though it's a no-match grant, which is kind of weird. Usually no-match grants, and you don't have to turn in a resolution for it, but this one you do. Yeah.
So yeah, just as far as the project, with it being $250,000 no match, I mean, we're obviously looking for something that we can keep that. that window, so that y'all know our budget we don't have anything budgeted to put anything. So, we're working on getting some quotes now for an overlay of that trail. For years, we've gone in and just kind of patched spots as needed, but it's pretty worn, and we're getting to a point that really the entire thing needs it. Also, another grant that we have discussed is the connector trail from Alcoa. So we've got Parkway, then the wonderful multi-purpose trail that goes along Parkway that also goes into Alcoa Park, that we have a grant to connect to Mills Park. So in theory, like, we're gonna get these really nice trails connecting us to Mills Park, and then we have a worn, old trail. It just needs a little bit of upgrade.
So would it just be resurfaced?
It would just be a resurface. That's what we're would be applying for, just a resurface. It's no additional, trails or pavement are there. It would just be a resurface of what is currently there. We would not be adding any,
Would it
anything to
address
that.
any of
We would
like
not be cutting down any trees.
benches or any of that? Not anything.
No, we would not be cutting down any trees. We would just be, yes, we would just be.
What about, because there are some benches
So
and.
if the grant allows for if there is, room, if you can, I'll be honest with you, once these folks come back, I feel like it's probably gonna cost that just in asphalt to do that, but you can add benches or anything like that if you add any extra flexibility.
I mean, there's some already there.
We would go so far and then
Yes,
That's
and
it.
those are, some of them are still there, yeah.
There were a couple that, like when I first got here in 2018, that were rotten. We removed parts of one, and then we removed one whole one, but everything else from 2018, I don't know what was there before 2018. But we've removed like 1.5, and the rest of the stuff is still there.
Everything will fill up with safety
Purple
code,
rings.
yeah.
Good question. So you said the grant itself is up $250,000? $250,000. So do you expect the folks that's come in on full amendment, so it's be under that?
I'm not sure. If they come in above that, we would probably have to say, okay, let's bring the scope down, because you have the outer circle, but then you also have some inner, like, if they come in more than that, we would probably look like, okay, where are the areas that need it most? The outer circle, because you have more of just the landscape's a little bit more, not sure the word, but unlevel. So some of that you've seen more kind of wear and tear on the trail. So,
There may be some on some of the hill parts where it washes.
so we're working on getting some quotes now, but it is not our plan to go above the two, to keep the scope there, because right now we don't have any funds.
Gotcha. So if of course we come above, you bring that back
We will
here.
we'll have to apply this month, so if it comes above, we will scale the project
Okay,
back.
gotcha. Okay, that's
The
okay.
250.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it comes in so far that it can't be, then we will just make it apply, sure. But it's not our mission to use any city.
Cool. Okay, that's awesome. It is the thought to resurface the entire, trail now, or just, some areas are a little more in need of attention than others. Is there some that don't have to resurface, or?
I think the whole entire thing
Looking at
probably
the whole
could
thing.
use it,
Okay.
yes, but, if we don't get the grant, then we'll continue to do what we do, and that is patch it as we can, so. But this was an opportunity that we saw of like, hey, we can get the state to take care of the project. Good job, Rebecca, finding it. But I do need a motion for us to take this to council, correct?
I'll work on that motion. Drew, do we have a second? All right. We have a motion, second, any further discussion? All in favor of recommending to council that we apply for this grant, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All All right, we are to committee comments. Anybody, Ms. Joyce, I knew you wanted to.
Yes, I've been concerned about a park that we have, that we called it Pudding Farm. That, his name's Francis Plum. He donated this land before that housing development built all around. So the park is kind of contained around it. You need a sign out here that says Plum Park. His name is Bryant. And have an arrow or whatever that the park is down behind that house. I think it needs a name, a sign. And I was going to use it for to plant trees. You could start planting small trees. And then as they grow, you can take them up and put them in different parts. You could have some maples, even oak, any kind of nice tree. And I was on that when it started.
I like the idea.
It needs to be used.
Where is it? Please circle,
Oh,
right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just want a sign like off of Boone Road showing pointing down the way, or just in front of that where the house is?
I would put it like where there is a
Right.
right of way going.
Okay, yeah.
That
Okay.
put it there,
Yeah.
that's the way to the park.
So, you don't necessarily mean the signs like we just put at Mills or Alco, you just some type of sign there to direct that is a park back, I'm sure.
Why wouldn't you make?
I just meant size wise, because those don't have arrows, so.
No.
If you do a sign like that,
then it would be a
street sign, it would have the park symbol on
We can look
I
at
think
it.
our right,
it.
I think our right of way is not much wider than right of way is. So if you get off of that, you're onto private property.
That would be my concern, is just the size, we couldn't go too big with one right there on. But we could try to design something that looks like the others and just make it a
Right.
smaller version. Yeah.
Yeah, cause it's a park and it's out.
Ms. Joyce, do you know how that name is spelled? Because I've seen it in the master plan, it's Plum, and then I've seen it on, like, the city website with a B on the end. Is it?
No, I think it was his name.
Okay.
They're an old family and, maybe not long.
There used to be a Bryant history in the historical area in the library that might have been.
Okay. I've just seen it with both, so.
Yeah.
Before we make the website,
Yeah.
My mother-in-law,
That may be the one I had to read one time, or I got to read.
and for a class, it
I did.
tells when each family moved into days a year.
One of my admin classes, I had to do that, and had to write the history of the district I was working for. That's pretty cool.
I read it, 1938.
Yes, I read that one too. I did.
So I think
Well, I think that's something we really ought to look into. I like the, proposed usage of it. I guess, do you wanna look into that?
Yeah,
Come back with
I
us
can come back with.
more recommendations of what can be done and how we could do it, especially as it relates to the sign and right of way issue.
I can keep you.
I think it is,
The entire park.
yeah,
2 acres?
Yeah, it probably is.
I mean,
Once you turn down the little right of way that we have, I mean, it opens up inside of there, but
Does it kind of take, does it anywhere back here, does it, yeah, it is.
It's completely retained. That right of way is the only way in and out.
so the master plan for that, I think, had walkways put in there, and just a lot of green space. I mean, if you were gonna do something, that's a lot of people's backyards that go up to that, because it's completely surrounded by houses, other than the small right of way to be able to drive in and out. But I think that a tree farm is definitely something that would be.
And the use, and now, people.
So, I mean, I think that, yeah, in the master plan, it was a walking area for the people that live in that.
Yeah.
A neighborhood park for those that live there.
Trail.
A walking trail to walk around.
Down there.
wonder if we could put the sign, or a sign that is similar to the rest that we have actually in the park itself, with directional signs to it.
Yeah.
So because those signs are really practical, they kind of give the park system a brand. system.
Yeah, I think that to do a sign that matches the others, that one should be located in the actual park, because we have enough space for it.
Want to hit two things up. I want to say, I told Keith earlier this week, I noticed Saturday, when I was out at Bishop, I noticed a lot of things are sprucing up out there. One is the blue cans, which really makes a difference, and the sign, but also I can tell you, people involved in the softball program, I know a few of them are near and dear to my heart, are so glad to see the batting cage concrete pads out there. They've been bending my ear, since I got on the committee, but those are out there, and, lots of good things being done out there. I appreciate it. Any other committee comments? I'll make a motion. Amanda, would you make the motion that we adjourn?
Yeah.
Second.